A, such a big deal, and B, that there was like so much strategy involved.
Yeah. A lot of people think there's a lot of strategy involved. That,
Yeah.
but, I mean, no matter.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cole?
Here.
Councilmember Schwer is absent. Councilmember Wong? Here. Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Mayor Mungy?
Here. Can I get somebody to motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved, Your Honor.
So moved. Councilmember Norby.
Second.
Second. Councilmember Cole. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. First presentation.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Presentation this evening is Silver Lake Improvement Association sponsorship recognition. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us. My name is Joyce Germscheid. I'm with the Silver Lake Improvement Association. Want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi, I'm Cheryl Ettlinger, treasurer.
I'm John Muller, member.
I'm Demnia Clarkin, and a member.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thanks. Well, as you guys are aware, we've had a great fundraising effort going on because we have an invasive weed issue in Silver Lake. So we started fundraising last summer. And I wanted to give the council and the community an update on where we're at with that project. It was identified as a hybrid invasive milfoil that took over the whole lake. So we engaged the DNR and Ramsey County, Bar Engineering, a whole bunch of different knowledgeable people that could help us identify what we could do to treat it. So we used a treatment called Floridone. It doesn't kill the wildlife or the fish or anything like that. But we did apply a treatment in October, full lake treatment, the shoreline and the offshore. And then we also did another hit of it in November. So now it's just kind of sitting there. We're going to wait until the spring when the ice comes off the lake and we'll be able to actually see how these two treatments worked. If we need to, we'll do a bump in the spring. But it will depend on what our consultants and everybody tells us we're going to do. So we were able to pay for those treatments to date. Our goal last summer was $20,000, and fortunately, because of this great community and its members and fellow city works, we were able to reach our goal of $20,000. So what we wanted to do today is just give a huge shout out to all the people who contributed to this project for us. We had different levels of sponsorships, and I'd like to just call out that the City of North St. Paul and Premier Banks, the City of Maplewood, North St. Paul Green, they don't exist anymore, but they had a fund that they wanted to give to us. And then Country Financial homeowner Buddy Martin, who lives on 19th. I'm sure you all know who he is. So those were our platinums, and we did have a plaque made for them so that they could display them in their business. Our gold level was Max, who was kind enough to do two Max Gives Back night outs, those fundraisers for us. So that really helped us quite a bit as well. Morgan Dolly with WSB. And then we also got funds from the North St. Paul class of 1963, Sue Springborn. Everybody knows who Sue is. Mm-hmm. And then our bronze was the VFW post. But in addition to those businesses, there were a lot of community members who did give money. So I want to recognize that there were 2 anonymous platinum level donors who live on the lake that donated anonymously. There were 3 homeowners that were at the gold level, and there were 15 community and homeowners at the silver level, plus we had another 7+ who gave $20, whatever. It was just all so fabulous. And I do want to especially thank Daniel here. He lives in Oakdale, but he was one of the first people who sent us a letter, sent it to Cheryl, our treasurer, with some money. So he is now a member of the Silver Lake Improvement Association, and we wanted him to come tonight because he did send me another letter with some more money. So, I mean, isn't it just wonderful to see that somebody outside of North St. Paul really cares about our lake just as much as we do? And so for that, we want to give you something, Daniel. So Cheryl has a little
Silver Lake ornament.
Oh, thank you very much.
Silver Lake ornament made especially for our donors at the different levels. So, any questions?
Congratulations. Well, thank you so much for putting this on and being able to roll up your sleeves and work with the community. And, you know, it's just
It was
the lake is definitely, for all of us, it's a treasure for our community. So thank you so much for all you
And
did.
Thank the city so much, and especially Carrie Erpenbach. She was so instrumental in getting the word out to help us communicate all over the city, and the websites and all that stuff. So we really appreciate her, too.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, awesome.
Thank you. All right. Next is consented, oh, sorry,
All right.
sorry.
All right, next up
Are you
is
ready?
the
Consent
consent agenda. Item A, February 6, 2024 workshop minutes. Item B, February 6, 2024 city council meeting minutes. Item C, general claims of $1,523,116.66. Item D, HRA claims of $150. Item E, resolution to increase the 2024 budget, increase the police department complement by 1 FTE related to the State of Minnesota BCA Violent Crime Reduction Unit. Item F, amendments to the arts and culture bylaws. Item G, Project Snowy purchase agreements. Item H, Ramsey County Library and North St. Paul use of fiber optic capacity agreement. Item I, Met Council TBRA grant and subgrant agreements. Item J, resolution accepting donations for January 2024. Item K, building permit report for January of 2024. Item L, Emerald Ash Board grant definitions. And item M, accept the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Emerald Ash Borer removal grant.
Thank you. Anybody want to pull any?
I'd like to pull item E.
Okay. Anybody else? So we'll move item E down.
And then I would like to also pull item L.
Item L, okay. Everybody else good? All right, if that's good, if you can move those two down, Brian, then we'll, somebody motion to adopt the consent agenda with those items moved.
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Cole?
Second.
Second, Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. All right, next is meeting open to the public first, right? I saw her come up. I didn't know if you were. All right, I have two of them, 3 minutes. John Schmall.
Mayor, Council, John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue, North St. Paul. Two items, but the usual one is going on since July of last year, the disappearance of LexisNexis. You'd think there would be an answer by now. And in making sure that I cover my certain part of my body, I look at it at least on Tuesday morning to see what it says. And this morning, this intermittent reinforcement, there was a report for North St. Paul, but it was Maplewood PD because it occurred in St. Paul or in North St. Paul. Last Tuesday, there were 3 of them, all Maplewood. No North St. Paul PD reports. I think this is unacceptable. And Nobody has said anything about when it's coming back or what you're doing. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Second item, the agreement between the library and North St. Paul for the fiber optic. I'm sure you all read it, from the first page to the end, and probably if you did, you'd be in the same state of confusion as I am, because I tried to figure out, they gave a listing of the people to contact when something goes wrong with it, and it has for North St. Paul a phone number for technical contact and contract contact, but the library has a person. So I thought, I'll call this number and find out how the person is. And when I called the technical contact, it came up as being a person that said hello. And I said, I'm looking for the person who's going to be the technical contact for this contract with the library. And the answer was, who are you? Didn't want to talk to me, but I managed to make him feel that I wasn't going to end the world for him. And it's Metro INET, the same outfit that does your normal work. So it's interesting. I suppose you all know about this and read all the 30 pages of this item to figure out what's going to happen. But I think you're going to have an extra charge for the technical service to Metro INET. Hope it's in the budget.
All right, thank you. Matt and Ruthie Olmsted? Welcome.
Well, thank you. Good evening. We are here as longtime North St. Paul residents. Ruthie and I live up on 2677 2nd Avenue East, Matt and Ruthie Olmsted. And we just wanted to come and speak to the issue of the proposed community center project. And first of all, thank you for the opportunity just to come and discuss our feelings regarding the proposed project. And we feel privileged and blessed to be part of the North St. Paul community for 33 years now, having raised our kids here, and now we're in we're empty nesters. But anyway, thank you for letting us come and talk to you all. We have read about the proposed project and overwhelmed by the amount of work that's gone into it, and we know the issues are probably beyond our comprehension in terms of really all of the things that impact on your decision to accept this grant or to reject. And we simply, from our perspective, want to object to the project on the basis that it represents an unsustainable tax burden on the North St. Paul residents. We feel that the proposed project requires an increased tax burden at a time when the median income of residents is on the decline. Meanwhile, other costs of living are on the increase, as you all know. And as we all are experiencing day to day, filling up the car with gas and buying groceries, we're feeling the pinch, and we just don't feel like it is a sustainable or even wise thought to progress on something like that that's increasing possibly our taxes by 12.5% is what we have come to understand. So bottom line, thank you for allowing us to come and express our opinions as to a nay on that.
Thank you.
So do we each get 3 minutes? Because I got 3, right? Okay, here goes. He took some of my thunder. We're longtime residents, and we loved the city of North St. Paul. We've been here for a long time, raised our kids. We loved it. Some of my concerns, which are on the side of his concerns, is that not only is the cost of running a building like that, but the longevity and the possible strain in the I think the grant is $4.5 million for refurbishing of the community center. And financially, the reality of running a community center, I mean, the other community center I used to use years ago, but I don't think very many people used it. You know, I only used it for a few years, but I think it was, I don't know how many, $300,000 it cost that they lost in running the community center before. And I know that there are other community centers around the area. There's Maplewood Community Center. If we look at Maplewood Community Center, they're not doing real well, and they've been there for a long time. So that's a concern of ours, and the fact that I understand a community center. I understand the need for something like that, but I see as we're building new buildings, I think there's exercise rooms in those buildings. We've worked at senior living places. They have their own programs, so they're not going to bring seniors to these programs that you have in this community center, which it stated in the information that it's for seniors and veterans, and it's a community center for all people, which is great. But I think we're doing a great job already of building community here in North St. Paul with just the new things that we have been doing. I think that's just about it. I guess I'm concerned also that there might be a few strings attached to this grant that we're getting. And the grant, to me, seems like it's a 37 and a half year commitment that we would have to make. So we would have to pay for programming for 37 and a half years. I don't know if we've even had the other community center for more than 30 years. So there's a concern in that regard. Are we going to be able to sustain a 37 and a half year without having to pay back $4.5 million? And I think by the time we all pull together, when you add together the expense of having 4 people on staff or more to run it and police, I think we're policing it more, or just security or something, that's going to be a lot more money. So I think we're adding a heck of a lot more burden on the people here in North St. Paul. So there.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you both.
All right. Close the public meeting at 6:47. Yes.
Do we need to check to see if anyone's online?
Oh, anybody online? Thank you. I appreciate you remembering that. Yeah. Yep, next is the public hearing.
All right. Next up, amendment to the membership of Economic Development Authority. We have Brandy Howe, our
Oh, yeah, sorry. Open the public hearing at 6:47. Thank you for the reminder.
Community Development Director, Brandy Howe, for this. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. This item was placed on the agenda at the direction of the city manager and the mayor. As you probably already know, the North St. Paul Economic Development Authority was established by City Council in October of 2009 by Resolution number 155 and the creation of Chapter 34 of the City Code. At that time, it was the desire of the City Council that the creation of the EDA would result in a conscientious and coordinated effort to encourage and precipitate future development in the city, to increase the tax base, promote employment, and enhance the health and safety and welfare of the residents. In 2009, the goals of the EDA were threefold. First, grow the city. Second, revitalize strategic community areas. And 3, change perceptions. The EDA has accomplished many of its goals since its inception. These include the addition of 547 new housing units downtown, expansion of Reflex Medical, and redevelopment of the former Anchor Block. The EDA also commissioned the preparation of 2 redevelopment master plans that focus on the long-range redevelopment and reuse of land downtown. Last December, the EDA lost 3 of its 7 voting members due to terms expiring and resignations, including 2 of its longstanding members, Mr. Robert Dew and Tom Shifsky. With the departures of Mr. Dew and Mr. Shifsky, the EDA lost over 2 decades of experience and 1 of its founding members. Also in about December, the mayor directed staff to explore the reorganization of the EDA, where it would transition away from its 5 citizen members and 2 council-appointed members to instead have the 5-member city council serve as the EDA, similar to the organization of the Housing Authority. It was determined that as the EDA has levy authority, decisions related to expenditures that affect taxpayers should be left to the elected officials. So under the proposal, the EDA membership would be transitioned to the city council, and a newly created advisory group would be established that would be the Economic Development Commission. The powers and duties of the council-led EDA would remain the same as they are today. The proposed Economic Development Commission would serve as an advisory body that would make recommendations on economic development or redevelopment projects, acquisition of property, leases, sales by the EDA. The EDC would review proposals against the comprehensive plan and make their report on such to the council EDA in their recommendations. The proposed change from its current organization does not impact the EDA's ability to levy or the maximum levy by which it may apply on the taxes as it currently stands. So the proposal in front of you tonight is to adopt a resolution amending the membership of the Economic Development Authority, adopt an ordinance that would amend Chapter 32 of the Municipal Code, which would establish the Economic Development Commission, and ordinance amending Chapter 34 of the City Code, which addresses the membership of the EDA. I can provide any answers to questions if you like, or we can open up the floor to the public.
So did we open and close the public hearing? Okay.
Well, I don't think it's been closed
It
yet.
hasn't been closed, so
It's open to.
is there anyone here that would like to?
Oh, that might have meant the,
Yeah.
anybody here like to speak on it?
Anyone online?
Okay.
I just wanted to open it and close it before we talked about it.
Yep, yep, you're right on that part of it. I did open it, but I didn't close it yet. So close if nobody has any comments, we'll close the public hearing at 6:52. Correct? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. We've had lengthy conversation on, since October and everything that's happened with the resignations and the tenure of part of the commission, just, their terms being gone. I would actually like to recommend or suggest that as opposed to voting on it tonight, we table it. I have concerns. We haven't had a meeting since October. We don't have direction as to what the council will do, what it'll look like, how it's going to be staffed. I would like to have at least one more EDA meeting so that the EDA can be involved in it and potentially a workshop around this as well. I am still in support of it, but I want to make sure that we hit the ground running. We're in an awesome time for our community. We've got 510 new housing units. We've got the Lilly Building coming under construction. Now is not the time to pause with the Economic Development Authority. And so I just want to make sure that everybody knows their roles and responsibilities as we move forward, to make sure that we've got somebody out there marketing our city to ensure that we have what we need for, whether it be a coffee shop, whatever the needs and the services are of the residents. And my fear is if we pause and vote this, we're not going to have another meeting for a month because in 2 weeks it's caucus night or election night, so we're not allowed to have a meeting. So I just want to make sure that we all recognize what we're doing and that I'm suggesting that we table it, have yet another EDA meeting or two and a council workshop as well to make sure that we don't miss a beat before we turn it over to the 5 of us up here. So do I make a motion to
Any more feedback first?
pause?
We can?
Do I?
Yeah, once we do that,
Okay.
we can make it,
All right.
yeah, get more comments.
I would like to say I'm in line with everything that Councilmember Cole said. I would also like to add that I would greatly appreciate feedback on a wonderful email we got from one of our residents, from staff and legal, and I want to give them time to properly, because there are some questions there that honestly I don't know. So I'd greatly appreciate giving them enough time to give us an answer to that email as well.
Yeah, 'cause one of the questions that was called, that was brought to my attention that I didn't realize, is I believe it stated the EDA can be made up of residents and business owners, but not outside sources. So I want to make sure we've got clarity on that, because one of my recommendations is, do we hire an outside source to help us market the city? So I'm gonna ask for some clarity around that as well.
For myself as well, we have coming up with the Lilly Building finish, we have Live Work. That's going to be across that bottom, and they have a year to try to find businesses to go into there, just because of the way the market shift with commercial. So we really have to be ready for when that spot's done, because we have a year, and then after that, then it can turn into residents. So we definitely have a little bit of pressure on us to be able to be ready for that.
Yeah, I agree that a little bit more robust conversation around this topic is needed. I think the initial one was much more informational without discussion, so there's a lot more to learn, and yeah, I would also agree with tabling it.
Okay. Do you want to throw that motion?
So I make a motion to table the vote. You're looking at me. I'll listen to you.
There's two motions that are mostly the same thing, so we can postpone until a set date in the future, or we can table it, which means we will take it up at an unspecified date in future when it's convenient again. So probably we want to table based on what I'm hearing from the discussion.
Sure.
Table with a
Table it. I like to make a
table with
motion-
urgency. How's that? Table with urgency.
Table with urgency.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we table the vote until we have the opportunity to make sure that we've got the infrastructure in place before it, or at least resolution to the infrastructure before it's turned over to council.
Okay.
Is that worded properly?
Yeah, I think that works for you.
Any friendly amendments?
Just the urgency part of it, just so we can get
Second?
ready.
Okay.
So your vote of art seconded by Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandy. Next up, city business action items and recommendations. First up is the purchase of a fire department pumper with custom fire apparatus, Inc. And we have Chief Malinger here to discuss.
Welcome, Chief.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having me. So up tonight, discussion related to replacement of our current engine, 520 that we call it, 1996 Freightliner. So obviously what we have before you, but I can go into great detail of what we've been preparing for since about spring of 2023. At that time, understanding the marketplace, that it was going to be a good 2 to 3 years to get something put together and manufactured, we started working, or actually I put together a 6-person truck committee, as we call it, within the fire department that includes myself, the assistant chief, a captain, 3 firefighters that are engineers that specifically drive the trucks, work the trucks, know how they operate. We first entertained the manufacturer Rosenbauer that completed our most recent truck from 2015. And we spent quite some time meeting with them and working off some drawings that we previously had in place of our current truck. Ultimately, we took that truck that we had and we removed a lot of items that weren't necessary for an engine. The generator, lights, tower, those types of things that we knew were going to bring the cost down and help us out to obtain what we needed. But ultimately, after quite a long time working with them, 4 months, the price came in at well over $940,000. And I knew that was unacceptable. I wasn't just going to come and ask for more money. I knew there was a way around this. There's always a way to find something that is less expensive that will work for you, so that's what we continue to do. The next manufacturer we looked at between two different companies is a manufacturer called MES, and they're out of basically Michigan. But they brought us in a truck for us to look at, and we talked to them quite a bit and met with them. We ultimately did some work with them online and getting some base spec drawings together, and they were able to be within our price range that we were looking at and what we have in the CIP. The difficulty that we had is working with a manufacturer that was so far away. So we kind of placed that one off to the side and then went to look at and talk to Custom Fire Apparatus, which is in Osceola, Wisconsin, and who we actually have worked with before and built our current engine 520 and did a refurb on our ladder truck as well in the early 2000s. Within a short period of time, we were able to come up with the spec that we have before you between our committee members and the, basically it's the son's owner of the company, and worked with us quite diligently to get something together before the end of the year, and thus we sent you the letter of intent to purchase with them to try and keep the price down. So we feel we were able to build something that's, or design something that's what we need as for an engine for the department. The members looked at it from the standpoint of making it easier for themselves and creating less problems, if you will, such as just lowering hose beds so we're not having injuries, some basic items like that. After we did the letter of intent, we're kind of at this point right now where we have a contract to sign with them. They have tentatively, well, they have on our behalf ordered a chassis in the beginning of January, and that could take anywhere from 8 to 12 months to be made. Thus, why we have before you the resolution is because the funds are not earmarked until the 2025 CIP. So if that chassis does come in before 2025, we would have to pay for that in 2024 in the amount of $289,745. With that being said, once the chassis comes in, they will then begin the building of the rest of the truck as spec'd out, and could potentially take anywhere from 12 to 15 months as well from that point. So we moved a little bit earlier than waiting until 2025 to start this process to, unfortunately, because we knew the costs of the trucks were becoming so outrageously high, difficult for departments to be able to pay. So that's where we're at. That's how we got to this point. Still in line to keep a replacement in 2025 or early 2026. I guess at this point, if you have any questions for me.
I just want to thank you, Chief. You're always very fiscally responsible, and it's greatly appreciated. Make sure you've got what you need for the vehicles.
Yeah.
So just, you know, we always appreciate you looking to save a nickel or save a dime, but don't
I believe
go anything off on safety, please.
Definitely. So the first builder was basically had an option up here and an option down below, and what they had below would have saved us a lot of money, but it wouldn't have worked for us, not over the long period of time, not for the type of response that we do. It just would have been a much smaller truck that wouldn't have worked well for us. I give thanks to our committee because really they stuck with what they felt they needed and also kept all the flashy bells and whistles off of it too, to keep it a working engine, if you will, that'll really work well for the next 25 and 30 years. So I'm really happy about it. I'm happy to be working with Custom Fire Apparatus again, and looking forward to working with them on that.
Thank you. Any more, or are you?
All righty.
Yep, we're gonna do the resolution next. So we need to purchase the fire department bumper with Custom Fire Apparatus Incorporated. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Wong. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Appreciate it.
Members will be very excited.
Well, we appreciate everything you do. Thank you
bet.
very much.
Thanks, Jason. Next up is 11th Avenue sidewalk improvements. We have City Engineer Morgan Dolly here to discuss.
So, is it spring? Is that why your beard's gone? Do we got something we don't know about? Usually you got the, what's going on?
Yeah, I just woke up and I felt
was that,
I
huh?
needed to shave it. I'll probably be back at the next meeting.
Okay. Thought maybe you were a sign of spring for us.
No, kind of like Puxatawny Phil, like Morgan.
Yep,
just
you got up in the second and shaved?
Yeah, 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah, no, nothing.
All
like
right,
that,
welcome.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. These next 2 items before you here are a matter of protocol with respect to municipal contract law and putting public improvement projects out to bid. So, and you've heard about both of these before. The first one is authorizing advertisement for bids on the 11th Avenue Sidewalk Improvement Project. As you may recall, this project is funded 100% on the construction side of the cost component for the project by MnDOT Active Transportation Grant funding up to $456,000. The current estimate is $382,566. So we anticipate that at least subject to MnDOT's review and their ruling in terms of eligibility, which we feel that 100% of the items within the construction contract should be eligible, but that 100% of the construction costs will be covered by those grant dollars and reimbursement once we get through the process. At this point, we're nearing the end of completion of the plans and specs for a state aid review. It'll go into MnDOT here. Depending on how long they take to review it, we anticipate then, once cleared by them, placing the advertisement for bids and then bringing the bid results back to the city council in an April or May at the latest, depending again on state aid review timeframes of this year, with construction planned for this season. And at this point, there is a resolution in your packet authorizing advertisement of bids. But again, the advertisement for bids won't go out right away. We do need to go through the state aid review process first. So this is just preemptively kind of preparing for that so we don't lose any time with only 2 council meetings every month, so that we can get it out there as soon as we possibly can, knowing that it might not correspond with meeting dates. So with that, I'll stand for any questions. Again, there is a resolution. The recommended action is to authorize by that resolution the ordering of advertisement of bids for the 11th Avenue Sidewalk Improvement Project.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
It seems like the grant is, exceeds the cost, and so I'm curious on what the plan is for the remaining funds.
Councilmember Wong, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So the amount that was notated in the award for the grant was just based on a preliminary estimate. So it just so happens that our more detailed estimates are coming in slightly less than the original kind of high-level estimates that were used to apply for the grant. The grant is reimbursement for eligible costs incurred by the city. So any excess funds in that award would stay with the state. So it's not the difference between the actual expenditures and the award of the grant does not sit with the city for, for example, for additional scope items to be funded or included. Those would stay with the state. So it's a grant funding up to a certain amount, but based on actual expenditures and actual construction costs.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? If not, can we get a motion?
So moved.
Do I have to read it first? Or we good to go?
I think we're good.
Okay, so move, Councilmember Wong.
Second?
Second. Councilmember Norby, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Mr.
Continue
Mayor.
on with you, Mr.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
Morgan.
No, I didn't want to steal your thunder.
2024 pavement management project, we'll have Morgan continue on.
Just as a side note before we move off of that, I'm excited for the 11th Street sidewalk to get put in. I can't tell you the countless number of times I watch people run back and forth across the street from the bus stop where there's no sidewalk to get over to Target or to get over to that shopping center. So I'm looking forward to bringing a sidewalk on that side and a couple of crosswalks to assist.
Which have already been purchased.
Which have already been purchased.
Purchase, yeah, way to go.
That's right. Yeah, they will be put in by city staff in conjunction with the contracted improvements of the walk. Oh, okay, so our next item is similarly to authorize advertisement for bids for the 2024 pavement management project. This is something, again, that we've heard before. It's several different areas, I guess by enumeration. There's areas 1 through 4. There's a map in your packet that, again, has been discussed. Those areas were identified based on the condition of the roadways in comparison with the whole rest of the city. Public Works actually did a kind of in-depth job of looking at the next 2 versions of this, so the 2024 improvements, and the next version of this project will be, is planned or anticipated in 2026. As we work with Public Works to identify kind of the approximate size and scope of this project, an assumption was made based on how much of the roadway was expected to need to be improved and whether that would be a less expensive mill and overlay or a more expensive full-depth reclamation or replacement of the pavement. At the time of development of the capital improvement plan, we don't have any sort of forensic information on the roadway condition. All we can see is what's on the surface, right? So, but between now and then, we have completed roadway coring. We know how thick the pavement is. And in a lot of instances, many of these streets actually have less than 4 inches, sometimes 3 inches, and on one street, actually, the core fell apart. There wasn't even a core left of the asphalt. And so really what we can't do in those instances is use a mill and overlay type of improvement because the area of the road, once you mill the top piece off, it just simply wouldn't hold up to construction traffic, loaded asphalt trucks, asphalt paving machine. You would simply kind of wreck the road while you were trying to fix it. So that's certainly not a good expenditure of dollars in terms of street maintenance. So we needed to adjust our cost allocations, and we've strategically built in a couple of bid alternates. And so what that means is that for a couple of these streets, depending on how the bid prices come in, we will have the flexibility, staff will have the ability to review all those prices within the available budgets, funding sources for the project, and we can recommend an award that it might be a street less than we originally planned, but we'll be able to maximize the amount of work that we can do in this calendar year. And then if we aren't able to include a street segment, that will be pushed to the next project would be in 2026. So we're kind of building this so that we don't have to not do a large portion of the project. We can kind of take it in bits and pieces and recommend for award as much as we possibly can within the funding constraints of the overall project. So, with that, and then again, the outcome of that is yet to be determined. Once we open bids, that's when we'll have a good picture of how much each street is, what those bid alternates are, and that'll be a part of the recommendation package back to council, which would be planned in April of 2024. So more information on that forthcoming, depending on the bids received. I can say that on the few projects that I've been made aware of, early bids in terms of asphalt paving projects, that Paving prices seem like they are holding up and they're not extremely overly inflated, so I'm hopeful that we can do a good job of getting all of these streets done, and if not all, most of them, certainly with the way that we've built this package. So the action item in your packet is to authorize by resolution staff to advertise for bids for the 2024 pavement management project. And with that, I'll stand for any questions the council might have.
No questions? Do I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Cole. Second?
Second.
Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Reports.
Nope. Item D
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, we go down.
will be a resolution to increase the 2024 budget and increase the police department complement by 1 FTE related to the state of Minnesota BCA Violent Crime Reduction Unit.
Thank you. So I just wanted to ask for some clarification in regards to increasing the budget. My understanding is that the BCA had covered the cost of an investigator, one of our investigators, and the idea is that we're increasing it so we can backfill that to two total investigators. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're backfilling the position. They've already posted for that, and it's like they have picked their officer that wanted to do that. So this will, like you said, backfill that position while that person is gone. It's been funded for 3 years, so which it could extend after that point. But if at that point that officer comes back, we would hope that we can make room for them until either retirement or somebody moves on. And then we'd bring that back down to I believe the 20 officers that we currently have.
20?
I believe that's the full capacity for FTEs.
Oh, I thought it was 22 and a half.
And a half? Do they have the CSO?
There's CSOs and then admin,
For officers, yeah. So
so 20
not including, yeah, you're right.
CSOs. Okay. I think from my perspective, if we have 3 years, I think we can give ourselves a little bit of time to fill that role. And so that's just kind of my thoughts around increasing FTEs is that we made a conscious decision to support the BCA efforts in the task force, and I think that adding 2 more is a lot. And that's just where I stand. So.
I'd like to put that up for a vote for the resolution to fund it as requested, and then if not, then we can vote on.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
Can,
Go on, so,
Councilmember Ron, can you expand on what you're saying?
yeah.
I don't,
Can you expand on which part?
my understanding was we authorized an officer to go to this violent crimes unit, and that this resolution just keeps us at the capacity we're at, not losing that officer. But what you just said made it sound like it was something different, and I got confused.
Is that my understanding that there is another position that is being added, essentially?
That is correct. So we could either take an employee and they could go to that and you could not backfill that position, or when that person goes, you could hire another FTE, so we're still at full capacity here since that officer will not be working in the police officer capacity for the city at the time. I mean, he'll still be an employee of the city, but he will be full-time with the Violent Crime Reduction Unit.
I still think we're backfilling, so wouldn't it be that we lose one and they're paying their salary and then we're bringing one in, so it's a net same neutral, so that's what's confusing to me.
Well, you could look at it in 2 different ways. So if you didn't fill that now, and that officer went on that unit, we could get paid for that officer being gone, but we would be down a full-time officer for being at a full capacity FTEs.
Yeah.
So that, in other words, we would be down an officer if we're letting one officer go to that unit. This way, we're backfilling and we're staying at full capacity with that officer being gone, since we're being reimbursed.
That was
for
always the intent, was to stay at our capacity. We just let one go and they get paid from that unit, and then we still continue what we had.
That was my understanding up till now. Yep.
And it was also
sound
my
different now.
And it was also my understanding that the timing would, basically as one.
Yep, one leaves, one
We might
comes
have a
in.
dip for a month where we've got 2 salaries or whatever, but it wasn't, now I'm trying to pull it back up because now I'm confused.
That's the way it was presented. Yeah, and hopefully by attrition, we would,
I'm talking just stuff from the beginning,
Right.
replacing the beginning. It'd be a net neutral, because one's gone, one's in, salary's being paid from the BCA. We're gonna pick up the new guy for the 3 years, so there'd be no more money as far as, we'd be saving one being down an officer, but we'd be at full capacity.
this is kind of looking to the future of fulfilling that FTE. So when he comes back, we're not having to make this resolution at that point. What this does is it allows for that, at the end of the 3 years, to just say they don't have any more grant money for it, we would have to, or you would have to prove an FTE at that point, because then when he comes back, we would be full capacity plus one. So that's all we're doing with this resolution.
That clear it up? Or not?
Yeah, does that help answer your?
It does. Thank you. I appreciate that clarification.
So are we open for discussion?
Please,
Okay.
please.
All right, okay. So that wasn't, when I originally read through the packet, I was more of a net neutral. I didn't understand basically ask for an additional 3 years in advance, is what I'm understanding. So if in fact the BCA does not extend the program beyond 3 years, we're now being asked 3 years in advance to increase our FTE for the police department.
That's correct.
So are we asking to guarantee that individual's job to come back? Or,
More or
I just have a
less.
hard time making a decision 3 years in advance on a full-time employee.
Well, I agree, and I understand a little better. Thank you. That was.
So Lisa, thank you for
Yeah.
pulling it. I gained greater clarity.
Yeah, because when we discussed this, it was 3 years, and then we'd have to decide then if there's a spot. So that's where we left off last time we talked about it.
This is the finance director just being proactive.
So this wasn't even a request from PD?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
I view it somewhat, though, as guaranteeing a job for the person that goes to this program to have a job when they come back. Because without this resolution, my understanding is they do not have a job when that program is over. Is that accurate?
Potentially, and by that time, all of you guys could have moved on at that point, so we could have a complete new council, so it's us being proactive in that aspect, correct?
I think that, yeah, making this decision 3 years in advance is, I just don't think it's necessary right now, truly. I think that we can make different or otherwise different budget decisions or FTEs. So.
Mayor and council, if I may, just to correct what I believe may be a misunderstanding of the, how the agreements will work. The BCA, the agreement with the BCA, that still is a North St. Paul officer.
Yep.
So this resolution would be required, or something like this resolution, would be required to hire another officer to serve in the city of North St. Paul for those 3 years. This would create a permanent position. I believe you could probably do a temporary position as well, if that was a concern.
Another new layer now.
That's a
Yeah.
new interpretation here.
So this has to be discussed further.
What I read with what we're voting for tonight, it says that the city council hereby approves an increase in the personnel complement of the police department by 1 full-time police officer during the city's participation in the state of Minnesota BCA Violent Crime Reduction Unit. It says nothing about going beyond that length of time.
Nope.
That's the way I understood it when I first read it, and then I got thoroughly confused.
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay.
So this would be to keep the effective North St. Paul Police Department within the city net neutral.
Capacity, sure. Okay.
That I support.
So, again, this is just to backfill. Is that a good way to put this? You know, for the 3 years, because we have one of our guys going up to the BCA. So this is saying we're going to increase that for the 3 years that this program is going.
Correct. And that would keep us, like you said, at net neutral until that person came back.
Okay. So, but that's where all of a sudden we got right into that for the future now. So now, is this where we're at? Right now, we're looking at just this. We're not talking about 3 years from now. We're just talking about keeping everything the way it is until we're done with the program. Okay.
So, Jack, do you believe, I'm sorry, what's the official way to refer to you? That wasn't appropriate, I apologize.
Jack is fine.
Okay.
Your Highness, he likes to sometimes.
It's better than I call him.
Yeah.
No, I was being respectful. So with the last statement, do you agree that the way this is worded, if we terminate, they terminate, or the program ends, that we are not authorizing the city to increase our full-time police department by 1? This is just the duration while we are in participation of that program.
Yes, and so when the program ends, the FTEs at the North St. Paul Police Department will decrease by 1, absent other action at that time.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Thank you.
So we'll have to,
Based on all of that, do we want to reread what actually is being asked of us before we vote, just for clarity?
yep. Should I read it? This should be fun.
Please.
All right. Resolution to increase the 2024 budget and increase the police department complement by 1 FTE related to the state of Minnesota BCA Violent Crime Reduction Unit. So I have a motion.
So moved.
So move. Councilmember Cole. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Councilmember Schwer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. What did I do wrong?
Councilmember Schmier.
Can I get 2 marks for that one?
I was doing so well. I even read the whole resolution without missing a word. Then I go trip up on the names.
Oh, man.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Missed it by that much.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay, sorry. All right. Appreciate it.
All right, next item up is item E, Emerald Ash Borer Grant Definitions.
Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Mayor and council.
How are you?
Hope yours is easier than the last one.
Yeah, right. I'm nervous.
Don't ask me.
I just want to thank you for applying for this grant, and I think it's a great opportunity for the city, especially with, the emerald ash borer being a real problem.
Yes.
I'm curious on the decision for this particular definition of low income.
Okay, yeah, we talked with the finance department, Dan Winnick, the finance director, and he thought, or we thought this would be the best way to go about this as far as determining low income. Per the grant, the people can self-verify their low income. That is acceptable to them. So in talking about this, how we would actually go about this, I have not been involved with something like this for determining low income, so talking with finance, we figured we'd keep it on how we go with our
like our water grants that we give for reimbursement for, toilets or people using less, water. So he thought this would be the best way to keep it consistent, because that's how we go with the other programs.
Okay. Yeah, I think my question is around if the definition may be too narrow. So we're talking about low-income residents. How many of them own homes, and then how many of them own homes with ash trees?
Sure. So it might not be reach out to enough people. Is that what you're kind of thinking? or-
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, is that too limiting? And then I'm just not sure what the allocation for that is either.
Yeah, so we thought about that too, and again, this is our first kind of shot at it, and we don't know how we had some of those exact questions of, will we have anyone that will reach out for this, to use this? So we thought we would go with it this way, and we can adjust it, for the following year, if we don't have a lot of participation in it. It's up to $5,000 per household. There's a lot of stuff that's going to go into it. Basically, Public Works is going to, we're going to have to go out and verify when the people apply. We're going to have to go out and verify that it is an ash tree, that it's in their yard. We have to map it. And then we have to go verify when the work is done. So when the people apply for it, once they apply for the grant, we will kind of take it from there. We're going to get, contractors we'll get the bids for them. And then give, the winning contractor or a contractor a group of trees to go out and bid for us. So we can hopefully make it as easy on them as we can. But it is also, we can adjust this as we go. So, and, I'd definitely be open for some input, if we have to, make this a broader span to reach out to people. But, we'll start off with this and see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, that answered my question. I was just kind of curious on, what does that look like in terms of number? Is it limiting? But yeah, that makes sense. We can, you'll adjust.
We talked about it, and talking to Dan, he said there's a CAP program. I'm not real familiar with how exactly that works, but we talked about that. He did some research. I think that would have included like 200 people. And for what you were saying, they could live in apartments, they could be renting, so they may not, it might not matter to them. So we'll see how this goes. We have 3 years to, use this money. So we'll adjust as needed to hopefully get as much of this work done for these people as we can.
Sounds good. Thanks for your work.
Okay, you're welcome.
Do you want to pass that resolution?
So, accept the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Emerald Ash Borer Removal Grant. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Wong.
Second.
Second. Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next up is our reports from city manager and departments. So the fire department posted for the full-time code enforcement position. Mackenzie Foster was doing that as a part-time position for quite a while. She's the one that got the position. She's doing some training already with that. Next Monday is her first full day as a full-time employee. So welcome to her. And congratulations. Absolutely.
Definitely.
So there's going to be ice rescue training on Silver Lake tomorrow. So they'll be cutting out a section. They cut that out tonight in preparation for tomorrow, the ice rescue training for tomorrow. The crane is coming back for the Lily project here on March 4th. Spend a few days on Sepulveda, and then they'll move it to a few days out on 7th Avenue while they're putting that cast concrete in there. Student-built house moving along. We got inspections for their mechanicals, the electric and plumbing. Be moving on to drywall here shortly. Well 5 is getting rehabbed. the way it was explained to me, that they, after a while, the well starts to build sand up at the bottom, so they were there trying to remove some of that sand and get that water level, or the sand level down so they can get more at the water. Looks like we did a lot of wood chipping ourselves and used how many yards out there at Northwood? 600. Yeah, they're running into an issue with the places for dump sites for this wood because of the nice weather. We're not the only ones who've been out there taking advantage of this and cutting down trees. So the two places that we normally take them are not taking them anymore. They've froze it until they can get caught up with their grinding. So things will be piling that up out at McKnight Field in the old tennis courts temporarily for a while.
The padding for tennis.
Yeah.
Say, will it ruin the surface?
It won't hurt that surface.
Could keep the weeds down.
I might be able to play.
Electric's been working on their distribution system, just doing overhead work since with the nicer weather, setting up new poles. Their equipment came in for that Chippewa job like John had mentioned earlier that they've been waiting for a couple of years. Finance had auditors here for 3 days last week. They'll be back in March to finish it all up. The PD had an interesting Friday night. They had a vehicle going southbound in the northbound lane, and there was an officer there at the time. They did get them pulled over after he ran from the police for a while, but thankfully nobody was hurt in that. Once they finally pulled over and rammed a police car that now has damage, there was a foot chase and they got him. Nobody got hurt, so it turned out well. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Reports from council, commissions, and committees. Councilmember Norby.
The Planning Commission meeting on the 1st was canceled due to lack of input, and the next Planning Commission meeting will be March 7th.
Thank you very much.
As for the Arts and Culture Commission, there were 7 snowies that were purchased throughout the community, and we had about, 15 artist applicants. So the subcommittee there is looking to launch that here this summer, I believe. And so we'll have a lot more activity. I think maybe at Public Works is where they discussed having the artists paint these snowies. We're having successful paint nights, and they're pretty well attended, and so that will become more of a regular programming for the group. The art cart is going to be coming back for Music in the Parks. So they're just getting ready and gathering materials and then seeking volunteers for support on that art cart. And then utility box wraps will be coming when the weather gets a little bit warmer. And so we'll see a little bit more of that. And the next meeting is on March 6th.
Thank you very much. Cole?
Next EDA meeting is supposed to be Tuesday, March 12th at 3 o'clock here in Chambers. I am hoping that we can, since half of the EDA is here and there's only 2 additional members, that the 4 of us can find time to have an EDA meeting prior to that, so that when, from the sense of urgency piece, we'll be able to have a workshop and then be able to come back sometime in the month of March. As the first meeting in March, we will not have, council meeting will not be held. So we only have 1 meeting in the month of March, so not a lot to report.
Okay. Thank you very much. General business. Councilmember Norby.
I would like to invite everyone and remind everyone that 1 week from today at the Historical Society, 7 p.m., the city council is going to be there, along with some wonderful people to answer questions and have a really fun time. And there's cookies.
Got me a cookies. Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, I would like to kind of acknowledge, the officers and responders that had passed in Burnsville, and to really just remind ourselves that we do put our responders in harm's way oftentimes, all the time. And so just really want to acknowledge that. I also wanted to say that I'm quite disappointed and feeling a little bit angry about the article that went out on the community center. I felt that it was misleading because we hadn't had a discussion about it. It stated the council directed staff to come up with this budget, and that was not the case because we didn't have a discussion about it. It was also based on a generic model, and we've not had the discussion to observe or explore what different models could be. It's pretty standard practice to have multiple streams of revenue for community centers. So relying solely on taxpayers is just not viable anyways, anywhere, even in more affluent communities. I think there's a lot more information that hasn't been presented, and a lot more information that we still need to learn and know. The previous city council has voted twice to retain the community center. We've invested in consultants and firms, and so we've invested a lot, and there's a lot more for us to learn as well to see if this is a viable option. There are community centers that are successful, and I think it would be of interest to us to explore or learn a little bit more about what a successful community center could be. And one example is the St. Paul's Conway Community Center. They're doing a great job bringing in funding and also serving the community's needs, and they continue to expand. So it would be my preference that we continue to have public conversations around the community center so we can actually get things moving forward and having consistency on the information and a comprehensive look at the information. That's all.
Councilmember Cole.
I too am going to build on top of Lisa's comments. I was very disappointed to see misleading information come out in City News article. We received basically a copy of that less than 22 hours before it went out to print. A lot of us didn't have time to digest, look at, read, ask questions, follow through, determine whether the model was the appropriate model to use from a costing standpoint. I just felt that someone felt that there was a need to rush this information to the community. We're not holding any information back, but to not give full stories and appropriate information, I believe, is misleading to all the residents here. There were actually 4 votes for the community center in my tenure here. 2 not to sell the building and to retain it and to move forward. The other 2 was to hire Wold to act as a consultant as to what to do. And the 4th vote was to hire a lobby firm, both here, local, and in Washington, D.C., to lobby for the funding that we were able to get. Now, it came with a lot of strings. We didn't know that. I'm of the impression that once we have the opportunity to look at that and digest that, we have the ability to change back or make recommendations to some of the things that have been put in that bonding bill. But I just don't want to get the cart in front of the horse on this one, and I felt that there was absolutely no need for a rush to get this information out when council hadn't even had a chance to digest it. And with that, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. I would like to address that also. I hear it a lot, that it was 4-1, it was 4-1 as far as the previous council. We don't have those 3 people on the previous council anymore. So the information has to get out to all of us. So that's what, we're here now. We were elected, we need to get the information too, and that's what we've been trying to work on as well. But I keep hearing the past, and yes, everybody did the work and that, but we also have to be able to look at the information ourselves too, and just get numbers and get history. To me, part of it was to understand what the history was with the community center and understand from the beginning. Our kids used it. I was up there quite a bit for baseball tryouts and different things like that, and basketball. So, I knew some about the community center. I didn't know a lot. So I was really hoping we could get the history, and that was part of it as well. But as two of us here now with the 3 new council members, it's not to continue because, we can build on it, but we have to be able to, get involved too, as far as being with the work that's been done and just keep moving forward. And that's what I'm hoping we're going to do. We're going to discuss and figure out what's best for the community and just understand where we went and just make it better.
And with that, I'll make one final note. The request didn't come from council. The request came from the mayor. We weren't given the heads up that the financial request was being made, and the information wasn't talked about, vetted through, or anything before it was given to public. So personally felt ambushed.
Okay. All right.
Now I'm done again.
Sounds good.
My understanding is that we were supposed to have a presentation from Wold on the work that they have done, and I suspect that should be something that is coming in a workshop soon.
Okay. No other business? Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Wong?
Second.
Second. Councilmember Cole. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.